up, JP Nation? It's your boy JP. If you're a returning subscriber, day one, welcome back to my channel. If you're a new subscriber, welcome to my channel where we do basketball reaction videos and other basketball content. If you love the game of basketball like I do, make sure you subscribe to this JP down below. Click the notification bell. You know where our next upload is, on the road to 40K. Thank you all so much for tuning in. They've been supporting me since day one. Today we're going to be doing another Larry Bird reaction video. This one's a little bit different than the previous videos we did, where we was praising the game of Larry Bird and how he was held in such regard as one of the greatest of all time. Sports Strike did a little bit something different that's totally opposite of why Larry Bird was so hated. Was he hated by the league? Was he hated by former players? Was he hated by today's players? I mean, why Larry Bird was so hated is the title of the video. Very interesting, very interesting. Shout out to Sports Direct from the video. I just put it out not too long ago. So I'm very intrigued to see why Larry Bird was so hated. You know, I would like to hear the points and reasons why Larry Bird was so hated, man. I mean, a three-time MVP, a three-time champion, one of the best players of all time, one of the guys that saved the NBA to have the NBA where it's at today. So, I mean, who hates a guy that could just has so much game and was just so cold too as well? So I can't wait to get in this video. Make sure you rack up the likes too as well. Make sure you let me know what you want me to react to next, and also let me know your thoughts on the video too as well. Without further ado, let's get to the video. Rack up the likes too as well. If you're looking for cheap tickets to go to the basketball game, I got you covered. It's just JP Partner, the SeatGeek, to give you the best ticket purchasing experience. Download the SeatGeek app and you'll unlock so many opportunities to go to an event you will certainly enjoy, like a basketball game. What's awesome about SeatGeek is that it gives you the best price from a lot of sellers, and it separates the good from the bad, and also shows you the viewpoint of your seat on your next outing. Yes, use that for, hold on, there's more. Use the promo code It'sJustJP to get $20 off your purchase. Your deal just got even more awesome. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app for your next event experience.
From his uncanny ability to get in the heads of his opponents, to Shaq saying that he hated him despite never playing together, here's why Larry Bird was so hated. I have to start with his insane IQ because his dominance was something to behold back in the 80s. Now, Larry wasn't naturally gifted, at least not in the sense people expect a pro athlete to be. Physically, Bird simply wasn't a match for his rivals at the time, like Jordan and Magic Johnson. But he managed to make up for all of it. Like, the guy was as competitive as they come.
So basically, he's just kind of, it's almost like he's like explaining like why people are jealous of Larry Bird, why he hated Larry Bird so much, why is he like held in such high regard and all that. So first thing he started off with is IQ. Man, Larry Bird's IQ, man, I mean, he was way ahead of his time. He was 2 steps ahead of everybody, man, because the man just was super smart, you know. He wasn't really the natural gifted athlete. Now, we seen that he had hops, he could dunk the basketball and all that, you know, but, you know, with his skill set, you know, that he had, like, you know, you would love to have Larry Bird's game. You would love to have a package, you know, Larry Bird packaging game, man. So I guess it's just kind of just like, you know, why people are so envious of Bird more than like, why do people really hate his guts so much, you know? So, all right, let's go and get into the video.
His basketball was out of this world, and his trash talking, well,
you backed it up.
That's the stuff of legend.
Yes.
Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and Isaiah Thomas all swear by Bird's ability to get inside the heads of his opponents. Skip Bayless, an American commentator who used to cover the Dallas Mavericks, shared an interesting story about Mark Aguirre and Bird. Mark told Bayless that Larry used to terrorize him on court. Mind you, this is Mark Aguirre we're talking about. The guy was an all-star.
He was great.
He was the heart and soul of that Dallas Mavericks team. Imagine how good Bird had to be in order to get into someone like this head.
Yeah.
But trash talk isn't the only thing Larry had mastered. The 3-time NBA champ was as good as anyone in the NBA. During his prime, he was on top of the world.
Woo!
The dude never finished below 3rd in the MVP rankings.
No. That's impressive,
he did it for 8
too.
straight years. And on top of that, he won 3 straight MVP awards as well.
Yep.
The power forward was feared in the NBA because of his ability to hit clutch shots.
Yes.
He came up with them whenever it mattered the most. Not many NBA players accepted it back in the day, but not a lot of them had anything to do with the Celtics man. His dominance on the court was something that regularly wore people out. If some of the biggest stars were affected by his abilities on the court and his trash talking, one can even imagine what he did to the lesser players in the NBA.
Right?
He must have been terrifying for them. Speaking of the biggest stars in the NBA, one of them's openly admitted to hating the three-time NBA champ. I'm talking about Magic Johnson, the same guy who ruled the NBA in the Larry Bird era. These two men will forever be linked in basketball history.
Facts.
They first met during the NCAA title game in 1979. Little did anyone know that was the start one of the NBA's greatest rivalries. But no matter how messy it got, the rivalry also helped the league in many ways. Like, these two literally changed the fate of the sport in the 80s. Back then, only two teams reached the finals. Either it was the Celtics or the Lakers. Considering the fact that Johnson played for the Lakers, well, it justifies their rivalry. The two collided with each other on 3 different occasions in the 80s. All of them were championship rounds. But as soon as they faced off as opponents, they became hated rivals. Magic said that at first, they didn't say anything to each other. They just stare at each other. They refused to even shake each other's hands. But after some time, Bird and Johnson buried the hatchet and started trash-talking each other. Magic once openly admitted that these two hated each other at first, only because one ended with the Celtics and the other ended up with the Lakers.
I mean, in terms of hating each other, yeah, you can hate somebody, but not like that. They respected each other's game. They really respected each other's game, but like, you know, you have to like really, it's like almost like a competitive mindset. Like you got to go at that person like you don't even like him, you don't even care about him, but you know that he's going to give it to you back right there. You know, that's Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. Larry Bird, you know, hated Magic Johnson, but respected his game. He had to hate him so that he could play well, so that he could beat him. But he knows Magic is going to return the favor. It's the same opposite go around. Magic hates Larry Bird, you know, but like respect his game, and he has to go at him. But Larry Bird, he knows Larry Bird is going to come back and attack him. So like, you know, that rivalry was just awesome. And then for it to be the Celtics and the Lakers, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, though. One of the greatest rivalries of all time is Celtics-Lakers. Man, I mean, I wish I was born in that era, man. I wish I was.
Johnson said that when the Celtics beat him in 1984, he started hating Larry Legend even more. But their relationship didn't stay like this forever, and they eventually became friends. The two found themselves shooting a commercial together at Bird's crib.
Yep.
Little did they know that day would change everything.
Yep.
They wrapped up the shoot and decided to grab a bite together. And that's when the magic happened. Pun totally intended. Over lunch, they started connecting the dots and realized they had more in common than they ever imagined. Both Midwest boys, both came from humble beginnings, and both had basketball swoop in and save their lives. Safe to say that one lunch changed everything for them. Think about it. These were the two guys who used to despise each other, locked in an intense rivalry that shook the NBA. They couldn't stand the sight of one another. But luckily, they had a change of heart. And it was good to see them become friends. I mean, Bird and Johnson dominated the NBA for so long, they were the face of the league.
Yes.
It was about time that they made up and became friends. But Johnson wasn't the only celebrity who admitted to hating the Bird. Ice Cube also had some stuff to say about the Boston legend.
Let me see.
Now, Ice Cube, he's the quintessential Lakers guy.
Yep.
I mean, he grew up in LA, so supporting the purple and gold was practically in his DNA.
Yes.
Especially during the 80s, when the Lakers were ruling the NBA. He's been a loyal fan through thick and thin, establishing himself as one of the biggest celebrity supporters out there. In 2021, Cube opened up about his team's heated battles with the Boston, particularly in the 80s. And let me tell you, if you were a die-hard Lakers fan like Cube during that time, Larry Bird was like a thorn in your side, villain of all your basketball dreams. Cube admitted that Bird was a total nightmare for him. Those sleepless nights, those shattered hopes, all because of Larry Bird. And he hated him for this. He just couldn't stand that guy. The hate did last for a few years, but eventually, Ice realized how great Bird was. He said he began to respect the way he played for everything he did on the court and for everything he did for his team. And these days, Cube has nothing but respect for Larry Bird. He's made peace with the former Boston player, recognizing his contributions to the game. But don't get it twisted. Cube may have made peace with Bird, but he made it clear that his hatred for the Boston still lingers. And honestly, who can blame him? Rivalries run deep and they don't fade away easily. And so does some people's hate for Larry Bird. See, Bird and Bill Laimbeer used to each other back in the day,
still hate
and
each
nothing
other.
has changed. Now, Bird's always been the kind of guy who respected his rivals, except for Bill Laimbeer.
This one is still going on to this day. If you haven't checked out Secret Base's beef history with Larry Bird and Bill Laimbeer, please check it out because it is just amazing. All the compilation of like articles and videos and stuff regarding Larry Bird and Bill Laimbeer's hate for one another. Like, please check that out. I highly recommend it though. Yeah, they truly hated each other. Bird hated Laimbeer, Laimbeer hated Bird. Detroit and Boston, that was a great rivalry too as well in the 80s.
I tell you, this was one of the nastiest rivalries in the league, which honestly is saying something. I mean, Larry alone had some pretty gnarly altercations during his time in the NBA. Mm-hmm. Take, for example, his big fight with Julius Erving. Those two were ready to throw down, hands on throat stop. But you know what? In the end, Bird admitted he had massive respect for Dr. J.
Thanks.
However, when it comes to Laimbeer, it's a whole different story.
Yep.
Bird didn't hold back. He called him the dirtiest player he ever faced.
He's dirty, right?
There's one incident from 1987 that perfectly captures the intensity of their feud. It all started when Laimbeer took Bird down during a game.
Yep, and they started fighting.
That one move lit a fire within Larry. He came back swinging and almost knocked Laimbeer out cold. Thankfully, they were separated before things got out of hand.
And Larry threw the ball.
But this incident shows just how bad their relationship was. And it's the same way between these two till this day.
Yep.
And I don't see it changing anytime soon. What has changed, though, is Shaq's opinion of Larry Bird. See, some while ago, the big man claimed that he hated Larry, even though he never played with him. Shaq was amazed by the fact that Bird, on the surface, seemed like an ordinary guy. He didn't have the chiseled physique or the flashy style of some other players. Still, that didn't stop Bird from pulling off incredible moves on the court. And this is what Shaq hated the most. He couldn't wrap his head around it. Every time Bird pulled off something clutch, Shaq's first thought was, he just got lucky. But let's be real here, you can't rely on luck all the time, can you? As Shaq continued to watch Bird's performances, something clicked. He finally realized that it wasn't just luck, it was pure skill. And you know what? Shaq wasn't alone in this revelation. He was basically speaking for every non-NBA player at the time. They couldn't believe how good Bird was.
Yep.
I mean, come on. This was an era when athletic phenoms like Jordan and Magic were taking the league by storm. And then there was Larry. He was the odd one out. The guy no one thought would make it. Yet he did. And that's what made him so special. So from Shaq claiming that he hated the Boston forward, even though he never played with him, to his uncanny ability to get into the heads of his opponents, this was why Larry Bird was so hated.
Alright, so the video kind of just like, it just felt like a different perspective. It's like almost saying like, okay, the guys that really hated Larry Bird, the title could have been a little bit different of like, you know, NBA players that hated Larry Bird or something like that. Because it's almost like, when you say why Larry Bird was so hated, it's like you're trying to say or try to give reasons why Larry Bird was so hated, but you gave like players that hated Larry Bird, you know, like Shaq and Bill Laimbeer and Magic Johnson. So it's like, okay, if you want to go that route, we could have changed the title a little bit though. Now Shaq's perspective on Larry Bird, just saying that he's just lucky and all that. First of all, that's almost like saying that's like a non NBA player perspective, like a casual fan would say, because everybody pays attention to the dunks and the dunks and the athleticism of players. Like that's usually what casual fans say. But then a guy like Larry Bird, who's not really athletic though, but has, you know, a little bit of hops, using his skill set to torch defenders left or right. And you telling me this guy in the NBA saying he just got lucky in the NBA? Come on, man. I mean, come on. I mean, the dude could score the basketball anytime he wanted to. The dude was 5 games ahead of everybody. Dude had a killer instinct. I mean, could pass the ball, play defense, shoot the ball, want the ball in his hands in clutch time. I mean, a lot of people ain't going to get in clutch time. I know Shaq ain't going to get in clutch time. I'll say that for sure. But, but I'm glad that, you know, he changed his perspective on that it was pure skill. Yeah, well, Laimbeer worked hard on that skill and all that. You know what's funny is that the finger he be shooting with is bent and all that. Imagine if he had a straight finger. I mean, that's still impressive with the bent finger and all that, you know, before he even came in the NBA with that injury and all that, like, and still be able to shoot the ball like that. That just tells you just how incredible Laimbeer was. So I wouldn't really say, like, you know, except for Bill Laimbeer, yeah, they really hated each other. But, you know, I wouldn't say, like, they hate Laimbeer, but they respected his game. You know, Ice Cube shot me because I didn't know Ice Cube. But, you know, I'm not surprised because he's a Laker fan, saying that he hates Laimbeer and all that because, you know, he's a nightmare. Yeah, he was a nightmare for the Laker fans because you don't know what he's going to do. You don't want the ball in his hand. Like, you really do not want the ball in his hand. So it's just like Jordan for everybody because he'd be robbing people's dreams of that championship or getting to the finals too in the 90s. So, but yeah, that was a pretty good video and all that. I expected a little bit more out of the video and stuff. I thought we could probably got a little bit more players or could have gave more reasons why Laimbeer was so hated, you know. So, but yeah, I mean, it's doing, but the video's doing well in terms of it. So shout out to the Sports Direct and everything. Tell me your thoughts about the video. I thought that they could have gave it like a different title, or like they could have kept on going with more examples too as well. Why Laimbeer was so hated. Please let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the video. Let me know what you want me to react to next. Subscribe to This Is JP for more content. Click the notification bell. You know our next upload is on the road to 40K. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for giving me love and feedback. Please check out my previous video of Michael Jordan versus Laimbeer, crazy battle in 1991. In 2 overtimes was just an incredible battle, an incredible game between the Bulls and the Celtics. So please check that out and other Laimbeer videos too as well on my channel. I'm JP, and y'all have yourselves a good night. Peace.